requests for changes to the zoning map seem to come to council at every meeting. Do you think zoning needs to be reconsidered? How and why or why not?
The zoning that Tomball has is a living document, as Barbara mentioned. And we are in the transitional phase of that document. We're still in its infancy. Unfortunately, the city of Tomball, when zoning was implemented, Tomball did not have a comprehensive plan in place, which is a document basically showing the overall city of Tomball and how different areas of Tomball should have been zoned. And that was not in place. They're working on that today. But unfortunately, it's sort of backwards. That Tomball should have had a comprehensive plan in place first and then initiated zoning afterwards. But it did not happen like that. As Barbara mentioned, this is a living document. You do have the abilities to go back and make changes to different areas to rezone those. And since zoning was just implemented here within the last 2 years, you're going to have differences in the zoning, the land that's zoned, where you're going to have owners of that property want to come and rezone it for one reason or another. And the city is working with those people when they do present those, working with them on an easier basis than what would normally take place to have those properties rezoned. So I believe zoning was done backwards. I would have liked to have seen the comprehensive plan done first. It was not done like that. So we have to live with what we have today. Does not mean that it's set in stone. It is changed and can be changed when those landowners want to come and present their ideas to the city on how they would like to have that land rezoned. Thank you.
Barbara, you were on the zoning commission, so do you feel like it was done backwards?
Well, it's interesting that Mark brings that up, because when we first got the first proposal from the consultants that we hired, it included a comprehensive plan. The whole proposal came to somewhere in the neighborhood of about $130,000. However, the council at that point in time said, no, we do not want that done. What we want you to do is put together a zoning ordinance, and then we'll address the issue and see if it's something we really want to go forth with. Now, by eliminating the comprehensive plan, they brought the cost down to about $88,000. But unfortunately, as Mark said, we had the cart, it was ahead of the horse, and we sure didn't get the product that we could have had if they would have allowed us. And now at this point in time, we're spending about $127,000 to develop a comprehensive plan we could have had for a lot less money if we had done it back in 2005.
Mark, you are saying that they put, as she said, the cart, I guess, before the horse.
Yes.
With this plan. How do you think it can be fixed at this point in time?
Once Tomball, at the end of this year, the comprehensive plan will be done, and it will be presented to City Council. And what that is going to be is sort of like a roadmap for the City Council and for the Zoning Commission and for everybody here in the city of Tomball, how they would like to see Tomball grow in the future. This plan is called 2030. So it's trying to develop this for the next 20 years here in the Tomball area. It's not something that's just going to be for the next 5 years. This plan, once it's enacted, then everybody that's on the Zoning Commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission, along with City Council, and the staff members within the city of Tomball will have a direction and guidance on how the city is going to grow. Right now, there are staff members who work for the city who are involved in the development with the city, that when they have a developer that comes to and wants to rezone a parcel of land, they have to go ask the city staff, the city administration staff, is this in our future plan? They do not have any guidance right now how they want the city to grow. So in my opinion, it was done backwards. The city staff should know and have the plan in place. That plan can be implemented. Unfortunately, it's going to be backwards, just like zoning was brought in backwards, but you can take it and work with it and grow with it. That will be a living document as well. Thank you.
Okay, Mark, this time you start the question. A need for increases in services goes along with an increase in population. What does the budget need to look like to maintain or increase services? Should there be budget cuts or an increased tax rate?
That's an interesting question. because it depends what services you're looking to grow. Right now, with the way our economy is, I have neighbors who are either being laid off or who are being furloughed on their jobs, or they're having to take pay cuts. Now, I understand the city has a budget that they have to honor, that they need to fulfill as well. But I work for a private company, and we have to annually look at our budgets, look at the future, and then make our budgets accordingly. And if we see a downturn in the economy like we saw coming in January of 2008, we started cutting our expenses at that time. And I feel as though the city needs to do the same thing. Unfortunately, they did not do that last year. They tried to implement a tax increase at the time when private businesses and the residents of Tomball were having to cut back on our budgets because of the way the economy was going. So in essence to that, yes, there are vital services that the city of Tomball has. We need to maintain those levels of services to the residents, but there are other areas within the city that we can cut back on, and I don't think the department heads were challenged enough to look at their budgets and to make those appropriate cuts. Thank you.
If you want to continue the discussion, you have 2.5 minutes remaining on what you think should be cut or not. If you can be specific, do that.
Well, I don't have the business type of corporate experience that Mark does. However, as an individual and a small business owner, as he says, there are always things that you can cut. There are things that aren't absolute necessities. There are ways of reducing your costs. Some of the things I noticed when I was looking through the budget are, do we really need a new refrigerator? Can it be put off? Do we really need to have an increase in the meals that are served? Do we need to look at possibly reducing some of the costs of our banquets and things? You know, we have a lot of the memberships that City Council has that could be reduced. Why do we need all the council people's memberships to be paid to a particular organization? We could just do one. We have a lot of city staff that attend certain meetings. There are ways to reduce it without absolutely destroying the budget. We can also take care of our citizens by reducing city council salaries. You know, the budget back when Roy was first elected to city council, he moved to increase everyone's salaries from $50 a meeting to $200, the mayor's from $200 to $750, and every single meeting they get paid $100. Well, what was explained to us when that ordinance was changed is that that would be, if say they have 3 meetings in a week, that's $100 for the week. Unfortunately, they're getting paid $100 per meeting, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 a week, or 4 or 5. We need to reduce that. That alone would help. If we're going to ask our department heads to reduce their costs, then we need to reduce our costs. We don't need $300,000 in the budget for the depot. We don't need $20,000 to be applied to a grant program that isn't even put together yet. There's a lot of ways our city could reduce the cost of what they're doing. We've got a $40 million budget. And since they have spent an awful lot of money on studies, they could reduce that. And then with that, they could put back into our budget the services that our citizens need. They need to address the infrastructure, they need to address our water system, they need to address our police and our fire department. We need to put the money where it'll do the most good, and we need to cut the budget as much as possible. And I believe it could be done without a tax cut at this point in time. I mean, a tax increase, sorry.